Will Tesla Model 3 make it in 2019? It's kind of a more complicated question than it actually sounds at first. Because as I said before, Tesla will definitely make it, and obviously Model 3 will be a popular model and it will grow in popularity. They've done really well with it this year. There's still hundreds of thousands of people waiting in line to get it. But it's all about expectations. It's all about the stock market. It's all about quite a few other things. So let's talk about it and see what are the highs and lows that Model 3 can hit in 2019.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, electric.
Welcome to E4 Electric, your number one source of all unbiased electric car news. If this is your first time here, of course, go ahead and click on that subscribe button so you don't miss anything moving forward. All right, Tesla Model 3 has been the hottest topic in 2018, as it should be. Started very slow, started very disappointing. It was a struggle for the first half a year. I know Elon told us that, they also, almost kind of died. He used the word died. I'm not buying that. I think they're fine. I think they could have had a bridge loans, and I think he was over exaggerating. But that it was a struggle. It was definitely a struggle. But in the second half of the year, as you know, not only production picked up, there are about 7,000 units per week now. They became profitable in Q3. Everybody expects them to be profitable in Q4. And they've been really, really pushing, trying to get all Model 3s and all Teslas really out the door, including their inventory, because the tax credit here in the United States is going to be cut in half starting next year. Now, for maybe Model S and Model X, it's not as big of a hit. It's about $4,000, right? If you include the tax that you have to pay for the extra money you're going to be having to pay. But also on top of that, you also for the Model 3, that's a much bigger hit. It's about 10% of the price. So we'll see what happens. I got more phone call from Tesla in emails than from my own mother, I think, in the last few weeks, trying to get me in the new Model 3, trying to trade me, having me trade in my Model S right now. So they've been working really, really hard. Now, Electric is reporting that their sources saying that there's still about 3,000 of Model 3s that Tesla has in inventory. It's not a big amount because, they sold, about 150,000 of them at this point. So it's not a big amount compared to that. But it is kind of concerning that they've been pushing really hard and still they have the inventory to sell. Now, I literally know some people who have in their configuration a tool right now in their account saying, hey, if you order Model 3 today, you're going to get it today. They really are trying to get them all out there. And as you know, those people who made an effort to receive this car at the end of this year, but something went wrong and they haven't, and they're going to receive it in the first week of January. Tesla is going to actually reimburse them, or at least make up the difference for the half of the tax credit here in the United States. Now, that's all good. It was a good half a year, the second half to 2018, but what's going to happen in 2019, because a couple of things can go wrong. Now, let me tell you all about it. Before that, of course, I want to make sure that you guys know that this video and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla, including Model 3. There's a discount code in the description of this video, so go ahead and grab it and save yourselves a few bucks. Now, let's talk about what can go wrong next year. Obviously, there will be a period where people won't be as excited about getting a Model 3 because now the tax, incentive got cut in half, and everybody who wanted to get one within this few months already got one. Obviously, I can see that from my referral list. It definitely slowed down in the last 2 weeks or so, and I'm sure the sales will slow down now. Tesla is fine with it because they're going to be selling all these cars now in Europe and in China very soon, and that's where a lot of revenues from Model 3 is going to be coming from, because they're going to be selling their highest version, making those margins, but they're not going to start selling in Europe until February. So there will be a month of January where it's probably going to be really, really slow, and it can actually bring the first quarter of the next year down to where they may not be profitable again, for a quarter. So that's something to be concerned about, because, if Tesla's going to be profitable for a couple of quarters and then not profitable again, people will be like, oh, We've seen this before. Once again, the stock's going to go down, and God knows what else is going to happen. So that's not good for the brand. Now, on another hand, it is actually a good test, not just for Tesla, but for all of the electric cars to see, is the United States the market where the demand will fall drastically and put a manufacturer, or at least that model manufacturing, in jeopardy if you even cut the incentive by half. It's I don't want to make any predictions. Obviously, the sales are gonna fall in the United States and pick up in Europe, but by how much of the fall is going to be, and will it start recovering? Nobody knows. This is something to watch, and I am keeping my finger crossed. I am a little concerned because we've seen another market where tax incentives were taken away and people are like, oh, we don't want it now, right? So it's I'm concerned. Let me put it that way. Now, another thing is obviously whether or not Tesla will be able to finally get to the $35,000 version. As far as from what I understand, they were $3,000 away from breaking even. That's what Elon Musk said. So I'm assuming in the next 6 months they'll be able to figure it out. But again, who knows? It looks like, at least here in the United States, everybody who still has their reservation, have their $1,000 for their reservation, is just waiting for that version. I am too. I'm technically not in a market to buy a car right now, and not in a market even for Tesla or Tesla Model 3. But if I can get the Model 3 at $35,000 with half of the incentives still left over, it would be like too good to pass on, right? Because the $35,000 Model 3, boy, that's going to be hard to compete for anybody as far as getting the bang for your buck. So, let's see if they can actually achieve it. That's the only promise that Elon has on the table right now that's still in question, right? Because he stopped making a lot of promises, and that's one of the reasons I really started to like him again, at the end of 2019, is because he stopped making these promises that, a lot of times he doesn't keep, and the stock goes down, and all the critics and all that stuff, right? But this is one thing that he still has out there on the table to meet the promise of producing the $35,000 version of the Model 3 pretty much before the beginning of summer. That's what the milestone looks like. Everyone's going to measure them by. Is very important. It's very important for Tesla. It's very important for overall indication of how the electric cars, at least good electric cars, are being adopted, and it's going to be a signal to the legacy manufacturers whether they still want to, hang out on the sidelines like Toyota or Honda, or slow down their development like BMW, or they really, really want to jump in and make sure that their market share is not being taken down even more like it's been my Tesla over the last few years. Let me know what you think about it. By the way, I also want to give a shout out to one of my new Patreons, Michael Benson. Thank you so much for becoming my Patreon. Thank you for becoming part of my community. Obviously, there are tons of perks, including watching me live if you're a Patreon, but you're also contributing to someone who is an independent full-time YouTuber, so I really, really appreciate it. If you want to join my Patreon community and contribute, you can go to patreon.com/E4Electric. All right, guys, let me know in the comment section what you think is going to happen with Model 3 and Tesla next year. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.